Om Gurubhyo Namah. I shall record and then just now I started my YouTube. We shall record and put it in YouTube. Those who are interested may see, or if they are not interested, okay, let it be there. For completing the topic, we have to see. Tamcha Pratyagatmanam. We were discussing Tamcha Pratyagatmanam. Everything is a problem. Like a person. In the ICC, you have sitting these connections, wires, and so many. Tamcha Pratyagatmanam Sarvasakshinam Antakaranadishu Adhyasyati. So, that Pratyagatma Vastutaha Sarvesham Antakarana Pratyayanam Tad Gochari Bhutanam Dehadinam Cha Sakshad Drishtaram Pratyagrupamapi Santam Parak Swabhaveshu Antakaranadishu Adhyasyati. Just as the Anatma, body, mind, and sense organs are imposed upon the Sakshi, so too Sakshi is superimposed upon Aham Pratyaya, as well as the other thoughts. Mind, mind means in general mind, then Indriyas, body, and so on. So, how this Adhyasa is? Chaitanyam is impersonal. It is universal and impersonal, like in deep sleep. In deep sleep, the consciousness is impersonal. Impersonal means it is all pervasive. What is impersonal and all pervasive? Impersonal doesn't mean this is also another problem. Impersonal means this book is impersonal, table is impersonal because it doesn't have an identity. But that is not impersonal because it doesn't have any consciousness at all. So impersonal means people think that it exists as an individual. Impersonal means universal, like in deep sleep. Deep sleep is not an individuality. So that impersonal Atma is taken to be an individual. That means a non-individual, a universal, all-pervasive entity is taken as an individualized entity. This is Adhyasa. Consciousness is not an individualized consciousness. Consciousness by its nature is universal, but we take it to be an individual. Taking to be an individual again involves, you can look at from three ways. One is localized. All pervasive consciousness taken as localized. Athava all-time consciousness. Consciousness which is ever existing. Ever existing means eternal consciousness is taken as in the present alone. That means located in time. A point of time, a point of space, a point of place. A point of place is called located in space. A point of time is located in time and also located in the world as a subject, as an individual. So these are the three ways. Consciousness which is beyond space is located in point of place, point of space. Which is eternal is located in at what point of time. What is free from subject-object duality is located as a subject. See, this is consciousness is taken as a subject. Consciousness is taken as located in space. Consciousness is taken as located in time. This is called Sakshi, imposing Sakshi on an individuality. That's why we say, I know. What is this I know? I am an individual, I know. See, consciousness is not a nature of individuality, but it is individualized. It means as it were. We take consciousness as an individualized one. It is an individual. So, and also an I thought, I notion is associated with it. So, I notion is taken to be consciousness. Okay, this is called superimposing Sakshi upon Anatma. And first consciousness is superimposed upon I notion, means taken to be I notion. I notion is taken to be consciousness. Consciousness is not beyond I notion. Consciousness is limited to I notion. And from the I notion, it is identified with the various thoughts, thinker of various thoughts. The bare I notion is associated with the thinker of various thoughts, and also a experiencer of, feeler of various feelings and emotions. Again, he is identified with the sense organs. Means when we identify with the eyes, I am a seer. With ears, I am a hearer. Like this, with each sense organ, I identify. And again, I identify with the body also. See how the consciousness, that's why body becomes conscious. We call body is conscious. Because when you touch me, I feel. Anywhere, any part of the body, you touch it, I feel, I become conscious of it. So we think body has a consciousness. See, this is it, purely superimposition. Body having consciousness is not right, but we experience. This is what we feel. Our consciousness is limited to the body, and the consciousness comes into sense organs. Consciousness comes into the mind. Consciousness assumes the I notion. First, consciousness assumes the I notion, which is beyond I notion, like in deep sleep, assumes the I notion. In other words, what is beyond individuality is taken to be an individual, and that individual consciousness, individualized consciousness, not individual consciousness. Consciousness which is beyond individuality is taken to be individual, taken to be an individual, and that individual consciousness is further associated with the mind, thinking mind, then it becomes a thinker, feeling mind, it becomes a feeler, and it is a knowing mind, that is sense organs. Mind and sense organs are not different. A knowing mind is sense organs, and a feeling mind is a mind, thinking mind is an intellect. All these are mind only. See, thinking mind is an intellect, feeling mind is a mind, and knowing mind is sense organs. Okay, all this is one mind only. Mind means thought, one thought. So the I notion, consciousness is taken to be I notion, is associated with the intellect, becomes a thinker, associated with the mind, becomes a feeler, associated with sense organs, becomes a knower, associated with the body, becomes a particular person, a conscious particular person located in one place and time and one body. How you see how consciousness is imposed upon these things. Here one more point. I think this he himself will discuss why I should say that. Swamiji himself will discuss. So okay, with this we have concluded. So Atmano Satyatvam, last sentence I say, Atmano Yat Satyatvam. Not only we superimpose the Sakshi as Aham Pratyaya. That's why when we say Sakshi, we think this individual knower, that is subject alone, is a Sakshi, we think. That's why when an event happens, I say I am looking at it, I am aware of it. So I am Sakshi. So we have taken Sakshi into an individual I notion. That I notion is taken to be Sakshi. See, that means we are putting an I notion upon the Sakshi, and Sakshi is taken as an I notion. Sakshi is taken as an individualized. But Sakshi is not an individual. Sakshi is a universal knower of entire universe, all states. Not only the entire waking state, even the entire dream state, he is aware of. and entire deep sleep. He is aware of entire deep sleep means what? Deep sleep state and deep sleep Atma, they are not two. Sushupta Atma and Sushupta Avastha, they are not two. They are only imagined as if they are two. See, in waking state, the wakeful consciousness pervades the entire waking state. In dream state, the same consciousness, the Sakshi consciousness, when pervades the entire dream state, we call it Taijasa. The same Sakshi pervades the entire waking state, we call them as wakeful consciousness. What is wakeful consciousness? The Sakshi with reference to entire waking state, we call wakeful consciousness. Otherwise, consciousness itself is not wakeful or non-wakeful. Consciousness itself is neither wakeful or non-wakeful. Consciousness is consciousness, that's all. But the consciousness in association with the waking state, we call them wakeful consciousness. In fact, this wakeful consciousness also, this name, wakeful consciousness, is in contrast with the dream. If you don't contrast with the dream, don't contrast with deep sleep, simply you are in wakeful consciousness. What do you see? You are consciousness, that's all. You are consciousness. The consciousness in associated with the waking state is called wakeful consciousness because in contrast with the dream. The same consciousness with reference to dream state is called dream consciousness. Means a witness of the entire dream. The dream consciousness in association with the dream state, pervading the entire dream state. But consciousness itself is same, whether it pervades the waking or it pervades the dream. It is just itself. That it is itself, it doesn't need waking state and dream state in order to pervade it, in order to be all pervasive, in order to be vast one, in order to be everything whole. It doesn't need a state. Therefore, the deep sleep is a state where state and the Sakshi both are one. Okay. In deep sleep, the deep sleep state and the Sakshi are one. That means there is no state. The Sakshi himself we are calling from the waking standpoint as a state. See, this is an interesting thing. Deep sleep is Sakshi. The same Sakshi is called as a deep sleep state, as a Sushupti state from the waking standpoint. Waking standpoint means in contrast with waking state and dream state. In contrast with waking and dream state, we call deep sleep is another state. Not only contrasting, but there is a relation also. Because from the waking it looks that I go to deep sleep and again come back to waking state. So it looks attentive. A tentativeness makes it look like a state. See, deep sleep looks like a state because it has certain features. What are those features? First, let us enumerate and then see, does it really contain those features? Or they are only visible, they are only appearing when we contrast or when we look from waking state. Deep sleep looks as short while. Okay? For some time I go and come back. Deep sleep is not eternal. If I think deep sleep is not eternal, it is a state because I go there and stay for some time and come back. Maybe 5 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours you go to sleep. Okay. That means it is a tentative. The idea of tentativeness is associated with deep sleep. This is Adhyaropa. Because the Sakshi himself is eternal, but associating a time boundness. A time boundness makes it a state. So that is an Upadhi. Second quality, second feature, the Upadhika feature is that it is a past. From the waking state, you look at the deep sleep as a past experience. One is, it is time bound. It is for some time. It is for a short while. Short means for some time, time bound. Second is that it is a past. Whenever we think of a sushupti, we think of it as a past. One is time bound because I go there and sleep for some time and come back, wake up. Come back means I wake up. For some time I go to sleep and again I wake up, means I stay in sleep for some time. Only for some time, not eternity. Eternity, nobody can go to eternity. Nobody can go and nobody can come back. Eternity means it's identical to myself. Eternity is identical to myself because if it is away from me, it can't be eternal. If I again come back from it, it can't be eternal. Where I can neither go nor come back, it is just to myself, identical to myself. That is called eternity. But deep sleep, we don't see as eternity. Then it becomes a state. When you see sleep as a state, then it is only lasting for some time, not eternal. Eternal means neither begins nor ends, and it is you are always identical. Neither you go and come back. Neither you go there and come back. It is yourself. That is eternal. Okay, so we take deep sleep as a state because two or three reasons. One reason is it is short while. Lasting for some time, it is time bound. Second feature is that it is a past event. So since we are in the waking state, we take waking as a present and deep sleep as a past. This again is a wrong. Wrong in the sense, it appears no doubt. Deep sleep appears to be a past state which I had experienced before. Now I have come out of it. Okay. But again I may go to sleep again. So it looks either a past or future. Deep sleep looks either a past or future. That means you are taking waking individuality as present and connecting the deep sleep with the waking time. But it is a wrong because the time of the waking state measures within the waking state alone. Time of the waking state extends either into past or into future only within the waking state. The waking time cannot extend beyond waking state. See, this is an interesting point. The time of the waking state doesn't extend. The time that is experienced in the waking state doesn't extend beyond waking state. The length of past, see, the remote past, however you go into past, however long you go into past, all that length of your past time pertains to, it is an extension of waking present. I am in the waking state present moment. I am in the present moment of this waking state. So the past tense is an extension, is a connection to the present. If the present moment is in the waking state, the extension of the present moment into past, the extension of the present moment into past also must pertain to waking state alone. Since the present moment of the present moment is in the waking state, the past which is connected to the present also is in the waking state. The future which is connected to the present is also in the waking state alone. That means waking state extends two ways, into past and into future. Taking the present as a basis. Taking the present as a basis, it moves into past or it goes into future. So the extension of time into past or into future is related to the present. Since the present moment is a part of waking state, all the extensions of the present state, either into past or into future, these extensions also pertain to waking state alone. You can't extend your past or future beyond the waking state. Can you? Beyond the waking state means your extension stops. That means you are going into past, going into past will stop. That means present also stops. Going into future stops. That means present also stops. Or it means the past, present, future. All these three things will be dumped. Three things will be erased. Then the Sushupti. Sushupti actually is outside waking state. It can't be an extension of a waking state. Yet we think it is a past. Therefore we say it is an Adhyaropa. It is a natural thought about a deep sleep while contrasting with waking state. So deep sleep as a state is always in contrast with waking. One is it lasts for some time. Second, it is an event of the past. Third, what is the third? Third feature is that it is a blank or dark. Some people call it dark, some people call it blank. The blankness implies that all things merges into oneness. There are no multiplicity, there is no plurality, there is no variety in deep sleep. Not only the variety of objects, the variety in the objects disappears, even the subject-object division also disappears. One is the variety of many things, many objects. Variety of many objects disappears there, merges into one object. All the many objects merge into one object. Even the subject-object division also merges into each other. Subject merges into object, object merges into subject. There is no division between subject and object, they are one. So, in time-wise, it is outside waking state. That means it swallows the waking time of past, present and future. Deep sleep, in fact, swallows the waking time of past, present and future. Because it cannot be extension of the waking moment of present. Now I am in waking present moment. This present moment, by extending, you can't reach the deep sleep. By extending into past and extending into future, can you reach deep sleep by extending? No. Because extending means you are still in connect with the present moment of the waking state. This present moment is in the waking state. Therefore, extending into past and extending into future is still being related to your present moment, and this present moment is in the waking state. Okay. Therefore, all this extension of your individuality into past or into future keeps you within the waking state alone. Then we think deep sleep is a past. What kind of past is it? It is not really past tense at all, because the past pertains to waking state. Okay? It is the waking individuality who imagines, thinks, recalls his past. But deep sleep is not related to the waking experiences at all. Therefore, waking individuality is not related to deep sleep. Waking individuality is required to be able to see the past. To extend into the past, you have to be in the present. So the present individuality is very much required, is inevitable in order to extend into past or extend into future. But when you think of Sushupti, the very individuality is erased. You are not extending the present moment, you are erasing the present moment, therefore extension disappears. Okay, the extension into past, extension into future, both of them disappear. Because the very location of the point of time is erased. The point, because it is the individuality that constitutes the point of time of waking state. Therefore, the individuality is the point of time And that point of time, by extending that point of time, you can't go into deep sleep. By erasing the point of time, the individuality, you find yourself in deep sleep. Therefore, it is not the individual that goes into deep sleep, but on erasing of individuality, you find that you are in deep sleep. You find, you don't go. Watch this. Waking individual is not going to waking state. Okay, waking individual is not going to waking state, because waking individual can never go. As long as you stand as a waking individual, you can never go to waking state. As long as you stand as a waking individual, you can never go to sleep, because sleep is outside waking state. It is not another period, another condition within the waking state. If the deep sleep was a part of waking state, the waking individual could go there and come back to this spot again. No. As long as you are a waking individual, you can never make your journey to deep sleep. Therefore, going into deep sleep is a wrong thinking of the waking individual. Waking individual thinking wrongly that he is going into deep sleep, because he himself is an imposition upon the deep sleep. The waking individual, by extending himself into past, remains within waking state. By extending the time into future, by stretching the time into future, you remain in waking state. Therefore, the stretching of time, the continuation of time into past and future pertains to the waking individual. Therefore, it remains confined to waking state alone. It is bound by the waking state alone. Therefore, the deep sleep, which is naturally outside waking state, means by erasing the waking individuality. Okay. Now, with this understanding, but yet we take waking as a state and a past. See, we take waking as a past. That means there is a superimposition, there is a mistake, there is a misunderstanding. But everybody feels commonly, it is not your individual mistake, it is a universal experience of everybody. All the waking individuals, we are all waking individuals, we take that this waking individuality is not there in deep sleep. That means it is only a blank. It is a past experience. It is a past. So taking Sushupti as a past experience is only imposition of the waking relationship with it. Then taking Sushupti as a blank of many objects. Blank of means without many objects, and blank of subject-object duality. That means free from divide of subject-object duality, divide of many objects, divide of subject-object duality. That is deep sleep. Okay. So we think deep sleep is a blank. Deep sleep is a past. Deep sleep is for a short while. Okay, these three features we associate with deep sleep. When you associate these three characters, then it becomes a state. Then not only that, fourth thing is, three features. Fourth thing is, it is still related to waking state, because I go there and I come back to waking state. From waking state I go to sleep, and again from there I come back. That means it is absorbing the entire waking state and reprojecting it. Again it is arising from waking state. At least some part of your personality or the entire waking world, in either way, it merges into deep sleep and again rises from the deep sleep. So these four features when you think of, one is that it exists for a short while. It is experienced for a short while. Second, it is a past experience. Okay. Third, it is a blank. without multiplicity, without division of subject and object. Third feature is it is a blank. And fourth feature is that it is related to waking and dream. That means it absorbs the waking and dream and again reproduces it. It absorbs into itself and again, that means it immerses into it for a while and again reappears, merges in deep sleep and again appears. So when you take these four features, four qualities of deep sleep, then it becomes an avastha. Without these four, what is deep sleep? It is no more a state. It is yourself, just yourself. You are not a state for yourself. See, you are not a state for yourself because you are existing. If there were two parts in you, one part goes away from you, then you can say the one is a state, another is me, original me, another is a tentative state of me. But there is no division. Okay. In deep sleep, so deep sleep can be seen two ways. When you are in waking, when you think of deep sleep, then these four features appear. These four features to state appear. Then these four features appear. Three things here. You are looking from waking state, or at least to contrast with the waking state, you are looking at deep sleep. Contrast. Then deep sleep has these four features. That's why we call deep sleep as another state. In contrast with waking state, you see deep sleep is another state. Okay. But deep sleep itself is eternal. One is, it is not a short while. All these four features we dismiss. If you watch the deep sleep directly, if you experience that, if you see the deep sleep as you are in deep sleep, as you are present in deep sleep, you look at the deep sleep that way and verify whether these four features are present there. One is, it is time bound. It exists for some time. No. Deep sleep is eternal. It is timeless. Eternal means it is timeless. There is no beginning and ending. There is no beginning and ending for deep sleep, because as long as the waker is present, he thinks that he is going. But when the waker is erased, you are already deep sleep. You have been deep sleep and you are deep sleep and you will be, because deep sleep doesn't begin. Okay. It is from the waking standpoint you think that from waking I am going into deep sleep, then you think that waking begins. Deep sleep begins. You think deep sleep begins because you are not yet in deep sleep, you are in waking state and you will go into deep sleep. And again you wake up from deep sleep. This is because remaining in the waking state, you are trying to look at the deep sleep and it looks as if it is beginning and lasting for a while and disappearing. Okay, it is for a short while, it is time bound. Thinking of deep sleep as a time bound makes it a state. Otherwise, this time boundness is not true. Deep sleep is eternal because it is timeless. There is no time, there is no experience of time, like space. Can you see the age of the space? Space can, now wall you can see the age. Any object having a form, you can test it with a carbon testing, you can know how old is it. Even the age of the stones they can recognize. Scientists, archaeologists, they determine the age of even stones. But deep sleep doesn't have an age. It is not old deep sleep or young deep sleep. There is no age. There is no time boundness. How far? There is no question of timeness. Okay. And past also is wrong, because taking the waking state. Second feature, let us see, verify whether the second feature also is really present with deep sleep. So in second feature is that it is a past. I have to complete the topic, though time is over. I think I have to complete the topic, so I'll take 5 minutes and complete the topic. So that it is a past is wrong, because a waker cannot think of what is beyond waking state as a past, because waking state is unrelated to the waking. Deep sleep is unrelated to the waking individual. Therefore, it cannot be placed anywhere, any relationship with the waking individual. Deep sleep cannot be placed in a relationship with the waking individual, because very waking individual doesn't exist with reference to deep sleep. When the very waking individual doesn't exist in deep sleep, so deep sleep cannot be called the past event of the waking state, nor the future. The past and future are impositions. Then another thing is a blank. Deep sleep, a blank you say. Even to say a blank, you have to think of the world. With reference to world alone, you can think of a blank. When the world itself doesn't exist, absence of what? Blank means absence. Absence of what? The idea of absence requires some presence, something present. If you have no idea of present, you can't think of its absence. It's an epistemology, it's a technical word, but I leave out the technical and I'm using just a common man's language. Okay, because the technical we'll discuss in Mandukya or some other place when we discuss Avastatraya Viveka. In Mula Vidya Nirasa we can discuss. Here we don't touch the technical, simply say it's an absence. An absence of the world requires the thought of the world. Therefore, in deep sleep, there is no thought of the world. Therefore, its absence also cannot be thought of. Absence can be imagined in relationship with something. Unless you imagine something, you can't imagine its absence also. In deep sleep, neither there is a waking world, nor you can think of its absence of it. Since there is no waking world, you can't think of its absence also. Okay. Now you understand, deep sleep is not time bound. First feature is doesn't exist, and it is not a past event. Therefore, it doesn't enjoy even that second feature. Third feature, that it is an absence. It is a blank. It doesn't enjoy even the blankness. Because of these three features, we call it a state. Okay. And also it is a cause, because everything merges into it. Again, everything is projected from deep sleep. Because of these four features, we call it a state. But the deep sleep itself is identical to yourself. It is not a state you enter into. It is not a state you experience. It is just yourself. Bare yourself. By giving up everything, by rejecting everything, you stand as yourself. Just being your bare yourself is deep sleep. Therefore, there is no time. It is eternal because it is yourself. It doesn't begin because it is not away from you, which you reach, which you acquire. It is just yourself. Therefore, all these four features which make deep sleep into a state don't exist. Deep sleep is not a state because these four features are not there in its actual experience of deep sleep. They may appear there when you contrast with waking, or when you look from waking standpoint. When you look from waking standpoint, these four features appear to be there. On account of these four features, we call deep sleep as a state. So that means deep sleep can be looked from two ways. One as a state, another is a swarupam. There are two ways of looking, two ways of understanding. One is, when you look from the waking standpoint, your mind sees it as tentative state, then you can say it is a state. But when you don't look at from waking, because you are no more a waker, the waker himself doesn't exist, then you are asleep. You are the deep sleep. So in the deep sleep as a state and the Sakshi who is experiencing deep sleep are not two. The Sakshi himself is the experience is the experiencer is the experience. There is no division between experiencer and experience. Sakshi and state, there is no division. There is no division between Sakshi and state. They are just one. Okay. Therefore, deep sleep is directly Sakshi. So the consciousness which pervades the entire waking state is the same consciousness which pervades the entire dream state. The same consciousness, without state it just stands. We call deep sleep. It is without waking and dream state. It is stateless. Yet we posit it as a state by relationship with wake. But Sakshi himself doesn't experience a state. Therefore, Sakshi never experiences a state. He only contrasts with waking. When you contrast with waking, it looks like a state. But when you don't contrast with waking and dream, because they don't exist. When the waking and dream don't exist, their contrast also doesn't exist. Then you are all alone, stateless person. Stateless means it is just yourself. A stateless being is inseparable from Atma. Isn't it? Oh, I have taken 10 minutes more. I think we'll stop with this thing. So here we have imposed Sakshi upon Aham Pratyaya. That means an individuality the I notion looks conscious. The I notion looks conscious. But I notion is a notion which you are aware of in the consciousness. Because in waking state, I see I notion has arisen. In deep sleep, I notion disappeared. That means the appearance and disappearance of I notion you are aware of. The appearance and disappearance of I notion you are aware of. That means the presence of I notion, the absence of I notion you are aware of. That shows the awareness is independent of I notion. Yet we take I notion to be consciousness. That means Sakshi is imposed on the I notion. And the I notion thinks that I know the world. I notion thinks that I am Sakshi. That means Sakshi is imposed on I notion. Okay. So therefore, Atmano yat satyatvam pratyaktam chidrupatvam, this point is there. I think we'll discuss in the next class. This class we cut down our time only half an hour. And I think next class we will do justice whole 1 hour. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat.